It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, hope you're doing well. I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Now, India has been on target today at the Asian Games, pocketing some goals in shooting and steadfastly moving towards podium finishes in some other disciplines as well. Cricket's talk of the town as well now, and the team is checking off the to-do list real quick with the World Cup around the corner. So let's stop horsing around and get you a lowdown of what's lined up today. India dominates Australia at home in the ODI series with all roads leading to the Cricket World Cup. We here look at what are the boxes on the to-do list that India has ticked off. And you heard it here first, Ashwin's uncertainty in India's World Cup squad. We get you the lowdown on India's road to World Cup glory. Another exclusive interview coming your way. Asian Games continues to be our focus as India's top-ranked men's singles player Sumit Nagal made his exit. We speak to him exclusively on his quest to top 100 in the world and why India has not produced a singles champion just yet. And you'll get a dressage here. No, I'm not reprimanding you. We'll tell you all there is to know about equestrian as a sporting discipline in the Asian Games, what the dressage event really is, and a little more about India's young gold medalists. Well, that and more coming your way, but here's what's making the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. Looking at the Asian Games, India's gold medal tally has increased to 5, all thanks to the shooting team. Sift Kaur Samra shattered the world record and won women's 50-meter rifle 3 positions. The other gold exploit was in the 25-meter pistol women's team event. Over in cricket, Pakistan captain Babar Azam has been fined by traffic police in the city of Lahore. The cricketer was charged with driving without a license and violating lane discipline. The development happened just days ahead of Pakistan's departure to India for the Cricket World Cup. In tennis, Indian veteran Leander Pace has become the first Asian male to be nominated to the International Hall of Fame. Pace is one of the 6 international players announced for the class of 2024. Leander Pace has won 18 Grand Slam titles and a bronze medal at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. Over in football, UEFA has spoken out in favour of Russia returning to European competitions. The European football body will first reintroduce Russia's junior teams in competitions this season. UEFA says children should not be punished for the actions of adults. The football body is even mulling the return of Russian match officials. In 2022, UEFA had banned Russian teams and match officials from European games over the country's invasion of Ukraine. On to action on the field. Barcelona drew 2-2 with Mallorca in La Liga today. Host Mallorca took an early lead with a goal in the 8th minute. Barca equalised in the 41st. The hosts then scored 3 minutes into first half injury time to take the lead. In the second half, visitors Barcelona levelled the match with a goal in the 75th. I'll tell you what, Australian cricket team will surely be seeing red though. Let's not get the cart before the horse here. Let's take it from the top. We are starting the show with cricket. We have been following India's fortunes in the lead up to the big ICC ODI tournament that's around the corner. You heard first about the need for R Ashwin's inclusion into the ODI World Cup squad. Right here on Firstpost. With Akshar Patel still unavailable and recovering from injury, it looks all but certain that the 37-year-old will be drafted in. And what a remarkable series against Australia India has had. There were enough concerns and some worry lines that would have appeared on everyone's faces before the team embarked on the Asia Cup journey. Starting with fitness concerns, lack of form, right combinations, comebacks and so on. But most of those matters seem to have been addressed and resolved. The road to World Cup glory is well on track. And this host nation is certainly no dark horse here. They are firm favourites now. Here's a look why.
As the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup comes upon us, Team India shows why they are noteworthy candidates to lift that trophy. It is being played in their home soil, in stadiums that they are most familiar with. Then, their latest test before the Cup of Dreams is the ODI campaign against Australia. India are already leading the three-match series 2-0, and the final match is today at Rajkot. From bringing home the Asia Cup to now dominating Australia, India are hitting their peak with the World Cup right around the corner.
A lot of guys, came back into the form, scoring lots of runs, and the bowlers taking lots of wickets. In the last, few games we saw, guys who've come back from injury as well. They've proven their fitness. So pretty much, settled at this point in time with how we stand, where we stand.
One big concern that was worrying the men in blue were the batters who returned to play after recovering from injuries. But they seem to have shaken them off. Rahul and Shreyas Iyer have both made successful comeback hundreds. And Rahul scored half-centuries in the first two ODIs against Australia. Suryakumar Yadav, who was out of form, stole the show with his blazing performance at the Indore clash. He posted 72 runs off just 37 balls. Shreyas Iyer contributed with a whopping 105 runs in the same ODI, ending the day as the player of the match.
Suryakumar Yadav going from strength to strength, and Shreyas Iyer was sheer class. Just the way he came and approached the inning. Rahul taking his form forward, Shubman Gill doing what now he's recognized to doing consistently. Ishan Kishan playing that cameo just tells you you've got all boxes ticked. He's this constant performer who goes under the radar. You're never really talking about a Ravindra Jadeja, but he's always performing for you with a bat, with the ball, playing cameos. He comes into bat at times when most people, you'll play 10 balls, 15 balls. He doesn't really get the opportunity to showcase what he can do like he did in the Tata IPL final. With the ball, very rarely do you see him go for a 1060, 1065. It's always 1035, 1040, 1045. He's got 1-2, the odd 3 wickets. So he's a constant performer.
The bowling unit too has been flawless in its execution. R Ashwin had a stellar comeback series in the one-dayers. He was bamboozling the Aussie batters with his guile, and he's getting back together with his partner in crime, Jadeja. This duo is proving to be more lethal as the matches go on.
I think Ashwin's presence in the dressing room is invaluable. I mean, he's someone who thinks 360 degrees when he's part of a cricket match, and he's quite ahead of the game as far as his thought process is concerned. At least, I used to talk to him. That is the feeling I got. So having Ashwin in the change room is always going to be beneficial, no matter which team it is.
With the World Cup calling, these are positive signs of a team hitting the peak. Is it too early? That is debatable. But for now, as the Aussies themselves have admitted, Team India is one of the top favourites to win the big one.
And with many of the men on comeback hitting the right stride, it's suddenly a problem of plenty. A good one to have though. Well, our next story today is from the world of tennis. Now, just a week ago, the top-ranked men's singles player from India, Sumit Nagal, had rued his financial status, thus throwing light on a larger issue that we've always brushed under the carpet. Nagal's Asiad singles campaign also unfortunately not going the distance. He lost in the quarterfinals to China's Zhizhen. Just why is India not able to produce a singles champion? And we spoke to someone who had supported him, someone who till date is the last Indian men's singles player to have won an Asian Games gold in the singles event, Somdev Devarman, who told us the best decision he had made was to leave India and play tennis abroad. And that tennis is indeed a lonely sport, with only a few making it, after years of struggle and sacrifices, of course. A thought that was also voiced by none other than the #1 tennis player in the world, Novak Djokovic, as well, just some months ago. It doesn't take more than horse sense to tell that there are many basic issues that the tennis setup in the country itself is grappling with. So joining me in mic up today from Hangzhou is Sumit Nagal himself. Thank you so much for joining in, Sumit.
Thank you.
All right, the first question I have to ask is, what's the difference between playing Asians that you have and top Americans or even Europeans that you've done over the world?
I think, as a tennis player, I would say tennis is very much based on game styles, or a matchup, you could say. For me, like Americans are big server, big forehands. Europeans are the thing with Europeans are you can find mix of everything, and Asians are very very solid returners and very great from the baseline, especially when you play a little bit low with the or when you play flat to them. So I think you just need to be aware of how you want to play them. That's where I feel like that's the biggest difference. If knowing how to play what players, if you want to know the difference between these guys, like I said, technically wise or tactically wise, this is the difference where one country focus or one continent focus so much on the serve, forehand, come to the net. Europe, you'll find just because it's so deep into tennis, you'll find so many different type of players. And like the Asians, who are majority of them are very fast movers, very good footwork, and love to play everything below the waist.
Well, you're currently number 161 in the world, breaking into the top 100. How soon do you see yourself making it there, and what are your challenges?
I think if I'm playing the way I'm playing, I should be in a good position to be knocking top 100. Have to say injury free. Have to play the way I'm playing. Have to like the few changes that I made few weeks back, telling myself that be okay with the mistakes. Do not be scared of losing. Do not be scared of failing. Where I felt like a lot of matches or months I was playing, being a little bit scared, saying, "Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. I cannot miss. I cannot do this. I cannot lose this match." And what was happening was when the matches were getting close, I would make those mistakes because I was just telling myself not to do it, not to do it, not to do it, and I would ended up doing that. So if these 2-3 things I can focus on, staying healthy, playing the right way, and just competing, be in a good mental state, I think I should be okay to be in top 100.
Now, Somdev, of course, was the last top-ranked singles men's player here from India at 62 in the world. Your goal must surely be to better that.
Of course, that's one of my goals. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, I can. Yeah, go on.
Can you see what it says?
It's inside. I mean, it's the other way, so I can't read it. So you'll have to read it out for us.
So I'll just tell you. So it's Sumit Nagal. That's my name.
Okay.
It has date of birth, and then it says Project 61.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so it's been like this for years. That is one of my goals. That's one of my project.
Well, that's incredible. Now, but where can we possibly bridge the gap then?
I think it's a mix of everything. Like I've mentioned earlier, not having the right infrastructure where you go, not having the right coaches in the country, not right coach, not right balls, not right conditions. The knowledge, we lack in the knowledge, we lack in the financial support. We don't have many tournaments. So it's a group of everything, If you want to play tennis and be successful, you need to live abroad. To live abroad, if you start comparing rupees to euros or dollars, you can already see how expensive it gets. And I feel like to get on that stage, to be able to give yourself a chance to earn yourself, if that is maybe at 22, 23, 24, I don't know, that's still at 10, 15 years of investment that we are spending. Well, like I said, even if you say I spend anywhere in Europe and America, you will spend 70, 80, 90 lakhs, a crore, depending on where you are. So that if you're saying 15 years, I have to invest, that is 13 CR or 14 CR. You tell me how many people are going to do that? Because where is the backup from, right? So that's why then after 18, 19, people start realizing, oh, this is getting impossible now. How me or my family or whatever the help they get from their sponsor are gonna continuously sponsoring you for how many years? They also have to ask themselves. And to get results, sometimes you can get results at 28. You don't know, 27. So that's a big investment for. Maybe. It's a maybe.
But then, Sumit, what's the reason that India hasn't been able to produce singles champions?
Since I've been learning or playing tennis, I saw my elders talking about this. Then I saw Somdev talking about this. Then now it's me who's saying that bring the change, find people. I don't know if what the problem is. I mean, we have the talent, we have the money in the country. So why can't we create tennis players in singles? Like I said, we are talking about singles. Why can't we create singles players? Why? Why do we all have to? I have to live abroad. Ram Kumar has to live abroad. Prajnesh has to live abroad. Balaji is abroad. Somdev lived abroad. Mahesh lived there. Leander lived there. Why do we all have to be forced to be outside? Digvijay Singh Pratap living in Madrid. Do you give me name? I will just keep on going. I'll just keep on going. Not one player who's been in top 200. Yuki lived in Florida. Yeah, that's all I can remember. Saki lived in Alabama. So why is what I ask. Why do we not have our association involved and say, listen, let's bring the change? Why? I just don't get it.
Well, it is quite disheartening to hear as well coming from you, Sumit. But we asked Somdev the same question this when we spoke to him earlier. Is tennis a lonely sport?
So in my experience, in my lifestyle, I have lived 15 years, 17 years outside Delhi, where I had to leave my parents, family, school. So as a kid, that becomes very hard, staying away from everyone. So that, like you said, that's more lonely than individual in my eyes. But then when you travel, you're just traveling with your coach, That's pretty much, you get to see your friends here and there in some tournaments, which are very, very few, you would say. But for me, I get 2 weeks to come home in a year. That's only if I'm doing well. So 48, 50 weeks, I'm abroad trying to play tennis, 30, 35 weeks of traveling, and then 10, 15 weeks of training, and then just 2 weeks is what I have. I do, let's say, blame ATP a bit for it. I can believe that they can shorten the Challenger Tour because if you are playing on the ATP Tour, I understand it's not bad because you finish last week of October or November, depending on if you make it to Masters. But to have the Challenger extended for another month, I believe that's not the right way to go.
Right, some things for them to chew on, but we want to wrap this up on a lighter note. Sumit, one thing, of course, that we remember is your matchup against Roger Federer. What was the learnings from that one?
That you can win points in different ways. The thing with him, a lot of points come with a surprise because you actually don't know what he's gonna do. Of course, he's very talented. He's worked hard. Don't get me wrong, but he's one of those guys who can adapt to a lot of different games style. He can do a lot of different things, and that was one of the biggest strength he had that you needed to know. Or you wouldn't know what's coming, but you always felt like you're always on your back foot trying to figure out what is going on, and that's how I felt when I played him.
Well, we're wishing for more such contests to witness. But thank you so much, Sumit, for joining us, and wishing you all the best always.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, on to the third story now. India created history last evening in Hangzhou. A bunch of 4 youngsters in their early 20s did what no Indian could in 41 years. That's right, they disproved the old adage of not just leading the horse to water, but making it to drink too. Sudipta Hajela, Divyakriti Singh, Anush Agarwal and Hriday Chheda won gold in the Equestrian Dressage event. I said quite a mouthful there, but let's hold on to our horses now. On Decode today, time to get to know the history of equestrian as a sport and the dressage event in particular. Now, equestrian's history alone dates back to ancient Greece, where horses were prepared for war. It was the later part of the ancient Olympic Games, around 680 BC, that chariot races became a part of the Games. In modern Olympics, though, equestrian as a sport began in Paris 1900. It was discontinued after that, before firmly making a return in 1912. Women's equestrian events, meanwhile, were introduced only in 1952. Like, there are multiple subdivisions in every sport, whether it's lawn tennis or weightlifting or wrestling, different formats. Like in cricket, there are different various equestrian events too. The first and the most important one, we'll look at dressage, of course. French word meaning training. Dressage is also referred to as a horse ballet. Oh, imagine that. As the riders and the horses are judged on the basis of their movement, calmness, flexibility, and how little, now this is important, communication exists on the face of it between the rider and the horse. Basically, how the two function as one. That is the duo. That's what they're judged. Enthusiastic, how enthusiastically the horse performs every little movement with little to no nudging or encouragement from the rider. Now, that's difficult. Now, you have many kind of horses too. Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but usually the horses of the warm blood breed are preferred for this event. Unlike in humans, where being warm or hot-blooded accounts to being quick to temper, a warm-blooded horse is basically middleweight horses, horses that weigh 400 to around 900 grams. It's about 900 to 2,000 pounds, coupled with a calm temperament and excellent concentration. Those are the horses that are used. And the dressage event alone is conducted in an arena. And in this arena, different letters are assigned at various positions, as you can see on your screens, to denote a particular movement that's to be performed. There are various sizes of arenas used according to the level of competition. But at the Asian Games, the size of the arena is 20 by 60 meters, marked by 12 letters to signify the course of the event and where the movements are to start and finish, with the judges seated at one of the letters, which is C. And this again is said to be inspired from the way the court will be placed. So you've got the judges at one end, and all these letters signifies a certain route in the movement, a predetermined movement of the horse and the rider. Now, each set of horse and rider would perform these movements to show three paces: the walk, the trot, and canter, as well as smooth transitions between the paces. Then the next level involves complex movements like piraf and passage, which describes a way of trot that the horse and rider need to perform. Judges score the duo 0 to 10, and each rider and horse from the country gets scored individually. So when it came to the dressage team event at Asiad, Anush Agarwal scored the maximum, 71.008, followed by Hriday, 69.941. Divyakriti came in third, 68.176. I'm only talking about the Indian contingent here. And of course, the youngest, Sudipta Hajela, only 21 years old, scored 66.701, a grand total of 209.205. Now, that's obviously got them the gold. Finishing second, right behind them was China at 204.882, the total of their individual riders' totals. Just a word about India's riders. All of them had some amount of training in Europe, where they learnt the nuances of this very tricky sport. Sudipta, at 21, is of course the youngest, as I mentioned. Hriday is apparently the horse whisperer. He says he sensed that his horse had become nervous as they entered the arena because it was suddenly crowded with so many spectators watching on, something that they weren't used to. He managed to calm his horse Emerald's nerves, and as they say, the dark horse claimed glory. Now, time to wrap up, of course. But before we go, there's always a parting shot. We call it the last serve. And today on Last Serve, is plummeting towards Earth with a parachute something you can do over and over again? Ask Max Monod, who jumped off a paraglider midair. And apparently Max Monod has already had 10,000 jumps so far. That's some stomach and guts for free fall. But that's about does it here for now. Thank you so much for joining in and watching this with us as we brought this to you. We hope you enjoyed the show. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.